stories with us about, in hopes that we might all get to learn a chance to share some of life's to share in some of life's little lessons. Please welcome to the mass stage, Nonna Gutman.
I'm vertically. Okay. You know, I never speak with a microphone because people think I speak too loud anyway. Emma was my former student. I think if I count all years of teaching, I probably altogether taught about between 5,000 and 6,000 children. Because this is my 31st year of teaching. I'm actually kind of a dinosaur. There are not very many people, teachers in high school, that taught before me. But I'm not going to talk about students today. And in fact, when I told some of them that I'm going to tell stories, and they tell me, they actually ask you to tell stories? I said, well, why not? I said, don't you sometimes want me to tell stories? They said, yeah, but that's instead of doing the assignment. My son-in-law had a different reaction. When I told him that I'm going to tell stories, he said, do you remember the first year when I was still dating your daughter and I was trying to make good impression? When you told me that you want to tell me a story, I looked at your daughter and she said, just say yes. She's going to tell it anyway. So, when Julie asked me to tell stories, I mentioned also this to my son, who is on Marshall's speech team. And he said, Mama, you're going to write your script. You know, when you're in speech team, you write your script, you go very precisely, you listen to judges, what they do, they make changes. I said, I will write my script. I said, okay, the school year starts on Monday. I did not have time to write the script, print the script, but I did have one boring meeting. And this is what I was doing. It was very useful time. Oops, you're taping me. Okay, Mr. Dawson was not the school faculty. Okay. I have many stories, and I am not used to people clapping me. Even the second time, you just say, stop it. Emma, do you remember parents always complaining at parent-teacher conferences that I have the longest line? Because I can never stop talking.
I didn't hear complaints.
You were just a student. Just wait until your children will come. Do you know that the oldest son of my former student is a senior now? Scary. Mr. Ursula, or somebody else said sometime, when a child comes in school and tells you, I had your mother, or you had my mother or father as a student, it's okay. When they come and say, my grandma had you as a teacher, that is the time to retire. I am not there yet. Okay. I'll put this on. This is my plan B, in case I will forget some stories. I have my plan B. But I want to remind those of you who are as old as I am, you probably were not even born that time yet. Do you remember 1991 with the Halloween with the snow? That's when I came to America. It was right before the collapse of Soviet Union. When I remind people about this, they say, that's why it collapsed. You laughed. You laughed and then it's collapsed. When you were talking about, in your story, about how precious the moment is when it's silent, yes. And until you have children, you never appreciate that moment. You never appreciate it. At the same time, it reminded me of something that my dad said one time. I used to call my parents in the morning. Before my dad passed away, now I call my mom every morning. But at that time I called my dad and I said, how do you feel? Does anything hurt? And he told me, if nothing hurts, I need to check if I'm alive. I think sometimes now, if I have this silence around me, I need to check and think if I'm dreaming or sleeping, if everything is okay. I have this terrible feel at the dinner table when nobody talking. I have this urge of talking. And I don't know, some people share the same urge, they understand this awkward silence. But at the same time, I do appreciate, and I love in class when kids working. It might be quiet, it might be not quiet. I just enjoy that moment that, oh God, they can function without me. And I said, I'm not going to tell one story. I'll tell little stories about things that happened to me and how you can pretty much learn from any situation that you've been. And one of my students one time said, boy, you're so good. You have a story for everything. And then he thought for a second and then said, no, you just can take every story or anything that happened to you and change it into teachable moments.
There you go.
Which is true. So I do remember when my son was about 5. And I always taught my son to be nice and polite, and he was very cute. He's a senior now. We have a gentleman agreement. I don't tell stories in school about him, otherwise he tells stories about me. So I have 1 more year to keep my mouth shut. So, but anyway, we went to Florida. My daughter, who is almost 15 years older than my son, we never went to Florida with her to Disney World because we always wanted to go kind of together as a family. So he was 5, she was 20. We went together. It was kind of funny because everybody thought I was a grandma. That's not the point of the story. The point of the story, we were working every day because my son had a terrible habit. When people would say, oh, you're so cute, oh, you're so nice, he would say, I know. So we were working the whole trip. When people say you're nice or you're cute, you're not saying, I know. You're saying, thank you. I said, okay. So this is the last stop before we got back to Marshall. We stopped at McDonald's somewhere in the way. He opens the door for elderly lady. Good, great. That's how we treat people. And she said, oh, you're so nice. Oh, you're so cute. And my stomach just does this. So this is a little Michael. He was looking at this lady that very, you know, with this twinkle in his eye, he looks at his sister, then he looks at me, and he looks at this lady and he says, thank you. I know. So, well, you can't change the person, you know, you just have to pick your battles. That trip was wonderful because by that time my daughter was 20. Before that, when she was 18, a little bit older than some of you, and probably as old as your children or grandchildren, we were taking her to college. Oh boy. You know how emotional it is, and this is the college going time right now. People are emotional. When she was a senior, everything she did irritated me. Everything I did irritated her. Somehow she was getting along with her father. I don't know. I just don't know. I just think they knew initially how to pick the battles. Plus, she's very much like me. So anyway, when we brought her to college, we helped her, and on the way back, I was crying. And my husband said, now what? And I said, I feel such a terrible mother. I am so happy she's not coming home with us. We are best friends now. I have a wonderful 5-year-old grandson. It's so cool and wonderful to see how she is doing exactly what I want her to do without me telling her. But it's very difficult to stay and keep your mouth shut. I don't do it. I don't do it. I just tell her, if you don't like it, just say yes and ignore me later, but don't say it. So anyway, that was a life lesson, you know? Something that you're really, really struggling and you think it will never get better, eventually somehow gets better. And it will get better in a very unusual and unexpected way. You never forget little things, except when people tell you, oh, it says, you will never forget it. It's like riding a bike.
Yeah.
Emma, do you remember my bike story? Okay, good.
Problem.
Okay, good. Because I'm going to say it. So, I don't know how to ride a bike. I grew up in the Soviet Union in St. Petersburg, which is a big city. My parents and mom probably remembers that, wanted me to have a bike, which was a luxury at that time. Not every child had a bike. We lived in a very small 2-bedroom apartment, really small. The whole apartment was probably half of that area. So we really didn't have space to store a bike. But my parents were really supportive and they bought me a bike. It was really nice looking bike. I really liked it. My mom made sure it was dusted and everything, and it was sitting next to the door. We were moving it every time we needed to go somewhere because it was just such on the way of everything. So in the summer we went, it wasn't vacation, it was kind of a suburb. You know, you want to take city children out of the city just to have some fresh air. And my dad and my mom both was teaching me how to ride a bike. They taught me how to start riding a bike. I knew how to start and go. I knew how to turn. I wasn't quite sure how to stop. But that's okay, because I didn't really worry. My dad said, you go around the block, we will come back and I'll catch you. I had absolute confidence that my dad will catch me. And he had the confidence, so it was okay. I was riding a bike. You know how when you first ride a bike, you hold so tight and keeping the balance? It's not fun yet. It's work. But I was very determined to make it around and make sure I'm going. And you can't stop really because then you fall. Okay, right in the middle of my going around the block, out of nowhere, drunk guy came right in front of me. And I saw, that was the face. That was the face. It was a boom. He was going zigzagging. And right in the middle of the street, out of nowhere, he just goes down. Right in front of me. I don't know how to stop. I don't stop. I rode over him. I fell. I don't remember how. I don't think I was hurt. I think probably I was on top of him, but I don't remember. I dropped my bike there and I ran to my parents, which was surprised to see me without the bike. You know, it's a quiet neighborhood, you know. So through my tears and everything, I told them that what's happened. So we were running to that spot. Later I understood my parents were sure the bike would not be there because, you know, it was a luxury and, you know, the bike was there, unharmed. The guy was not. He disappeared. I swear to God, he was not moving when I left.
Right.
So I think for a year or two, I was absolutely sure I killed him.
Sure.
Okay, I need to stop. Yeah, I know. I will finish that, but I won't tell you a story. And my dad told me that later that drunk people don't go to heaven. So when you drink a little bit, make sure you're not completely drunk. So that's what's happened. And I never really wanted to ride a bike. My husband taught me I can do it if I have to, if my family really needs it, I can do that. A couple years ago I was thinking maybe I should buy a tricycle. Because then I would, first of all, the seat would be bigger and more comfortable. I would be able to stop and enjoy the surrounding without pedaling. But the problem is where you store it. You know, because the bicycle you can put on a hook and it doesn't, the tricycle is kind of out of balance. So I'm still debating debating if I need to do it or not. I'm very happy my daughter can ride a bike, my son can ride a bike, my grandson can now ride a bike with training wheels. I can't, but that's okay. Not everything in life should be, and not everything is easy as riding a bike.